All right, so in this video, I'm going to talk about a Bible that the 2,000-year-old Bible that the Catholic Church tried to hide. All right, so just waiting for the video to come on real quick. Um, and then there's two Bible verses that I'm going to read.
Christianity has dominated the earth for centuries, bringing with it reverence and scrutiny through the ages. Countless secrets and hidden mysteries often have Christianity at their heart, especially ancient and medieval manuscripts and intrigues. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at several mysteries and discoveries surrounding religion. A 1,500-year-old Bible argues Jesus' fate. Christianity has broken into many sectors throughout the years, each adhering to their own moral codes and interpreting the Bible in different ways. Like any piece of literature, the Bible is indeed up to interpretation. However, it's hard to interpret a story when it was never told in the first place. According to the Ethnography Museum of Ankara, Turkey, a new version of the Bible believed to be 15 to 2,000 years old has resurfaced and caused upheaval to the Christian faith. This is because this Bible includes the Gospel of Barnabas. The story reveals that Jesus was never nailed to the cross, but he was also not the Son of God. This story insists that Jesus was only a prophet and that his fate was not crucifixion at all, but that he instead made it to heaven. However, the story of crucifixion is not completely lost. In this story, Judas Iscariot was believed to be nailed to the cross instead. This book came to light during a heist when a group of thieves attempted to smuggle highly valuable.
All right, guys, so another thing I want to add, before anybody starts saying anything about, the book of Barnabas being a different version of the gospel as opposed to the first four books of the New Testament, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All right, so the importance of hearing about the book of Barnabas, and I'm going to show you guys a couple other books as well that wasn't included in the Bible. The importance of knowing both sides of the story is as important as a police officer coming to a crime scene and asking both sides of the story, right? So if we just listen to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and we don't listen to Barnabas and three other books that I want to show you guys, then that's like a police officer coming to a crime scene, going straight to the male and being like, hey, so what happened what happened here? And even though the police officer could clearly see that the woman is beaten, she has a black eye, there's clear damage done to the female, the police officer doesn't even ask the female. He goes straight to the male and asks him what, happened. And the police officer is like, okay. He takes down the information. He only takes the information from the male and not the female. Writes down the information, and the male's like, oh yeah, she beat me up. She gave me a black eye. She did this. She did that. She hit me. She abused me. And then the police officer is like, all right, that's it. She did it. Okay. All right. She's going to jail tonight. And it's like, by not hearing this side of the story from the book of Barnabas, is like the police officer not even listening to what the woman had to say about what happened in this situation. So it's very important to hear both sides of the story. That's why I'm on my journey of discovery. I just don't take everything at face value. I know there's 66 books in the Bible, but why is there 52 books taken out of the Bible? So right here, Book of Barnabas, perfect example of us needing to hear both sides of the story. So let's hear the other side of the story.
Valuable goods across the Mediterranean Sea. This version of the Bible is believed to be worth over $25 million, both for its shocking revelations and antiquity. It's no secret that the world of Christianity and the world of Islam have been at odds for years. However, this contention is largely based on how we as people should interpret Jesus' place in the Bible and thus honor him thereafter. Because this new biblical story reveals.
See, so there's other religions that believe different than Christianity, because Christianity believes that Jesus was God and everybody worships Jesus as God. But there's other religions that took, the book of Barnabas that says that Jesus was just a prophet, he was just a man, but he did have a higher density of consciousness. He was more evolved because he learned more knowledge and more information. That's why he was more evolved, which I'm going to go into a Law of One series later on. So stay tuned for those videos to understand where Jesus came from, how Jesus was more evolved. He was from a fourth density consciousness. Humans are typically a third density consciousness, but a lot of humans are moving. Some humans are moving into the fourth density consciousness. So these other religions heard the book, such as Barnabas and a couple of these books that say that Jesus was just a man. Jesus was just a prophet, such as I am a prophet. I get dreams and visions and stuff like that, and I could see the future at times. But yes, Jesus was more advanced than me. So that's why it's important to read this side of the story too. That's why there's other religions that believe in oneness and other religions that believe, Jesus was not God. But Jesus did come down from the higher densities of fourth density into the third density to teach our third density lower level of evolution, to teach humans of the third density of how to evolve into love, understanding, and oneness of the fourth density, to help humanity evolve. Because when humanity evolves, then they could go into higher states of consciousness, and when you're in higher states of consciousness, that is salvation, that is evolving to heaven-like states. But also forgiving yourself and forgiving other people are the key to salvation as well. All right, let's finish listening to the book of Barnabas.
That Jesus quite possibly knew the Prophet Muhammad and foresaw his arrival, it can be said that if Christians do decide to honor this new gospel, then their teachings and belief systems might align differently. However, it is common practice of any church, but especially the Christian church, to pick and choose which stories they want to include in modern practice. It takes a keen scholarly eye to authenticate the true intent of Jesus' word at the conception of the Bible. But it takes only several elders of the church to manipulate the transcriptions to align with modern belief systems. While the Vatican remains highly interested in this new finding, it cannot be said whether the entirety of Christianity will change because of it. We do know one thing, though. If this gospel stayed hidden from us for more than 1500 years, then it is reasonable to wonder what else is out there. Did Jesus have healing powers? Jesus Christ is considered to be one of the most influential people in history. He is the founder of Christianity, and Christians believe him to be the incarnation of the Son of God. It is believed that Jesus performed a number of miracles during his lifetime. Some of the most commonly attributed miracles to Jesus include turning water into wine, walking on water, calming storms, feeding the multitude, and resurrection of the dead. However, the most talked about miracle of Jesus that has been mentioned a number of times in various religious scriptures, and that is believed by millions around the world, is his ability to heal people. It is believed that Jesus could cure the diseased simply by saying a few words, and sometimes by applying his spit to the diseased part. He could also heal the blind and cure those suffering from leprosy. These amazing healing powers of Jesus have been widely mentioned in the religious books of Christianity as well as Islam. While the religion and history both have many stories of the healing powers of Jesus, science does not support it, and therefore people explain these powers as miracles. Many people believe that these were the different miracles that Jesus was capable of performing because he was divine. Some people believe that Jesus had some advanced knowledge of Reiki or hypnosis that allowed him to carry out miracle-like acts of healing people. And then there are many people who simply refuse to believe that Jesus had any healing powers. They simply denounce them as made-up stories. However, there are
Yeah, just real quick, I do believe that Jesus had healing powers. This is where I could go into a verse that I want to tell you guys. All right, so John 14:12 says, "Very truly I tell you, Whoever believes in me will do works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these. So if Jesus was God, Jesus is more powerful than any other human because he's the Son of God, then how are we going to be able to do even greater things than Jesus did if Jesus is God? That's because Jesus came from the fourth density consciousness into the third density consciousness to help evolve people into the higher densities of consciousness. And once we evolve into these higher states of consciousness, which is once we obtain the level of Christ consciousness, such as what Jesus Christ had, then we're going to be able to do these greater things than Jesus did. So Jesus said, and they will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father. So if Jesus was God and God alone, or the Son of God, and people like to say, it's the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, it's one God. Well, if Jesus was going to the Father, how is Jesus God if he's going to the Father? So again, John 14:12 says that people could do even greater things than Jesus did. All right, Acts 2:22. Fellow Israelites, listen to this. Jesus of Nazareth was a man accredited by God to you by miracles, wonders, and signs, which God did among you through him. God did these things, these miracles, through Jesus, because Jesus had a higher state of consciousness. He was more evolved than the rest of humanity. Which God did among you through him, as you yourselves know. So Acts 2:22 says that Jesus was a man accredited by God to you by miracles, wonders, and signs, which God did among you through him. So God was doing these works through Jesus. And it said, like I said, it said Jesus was a man. So those are two important verses to state. All right, let's continue.
Hundreds of stories about the miracles of Jesus. While most of these are mentioned in the religious scriptures, some historians have also come to the conclusion that Jesus did perform some miracle-like acts, including healing people. The healing power of Jesus and the other miracles that he performed are likely to remain a mystery. The legend of the Codex Gators. One of the most well-known stories concerning that of a person making a deal with the devil is the existence of the fabled Codex Gators. The Codex Gators, also referred to as the Devil's Bible, was supposedly written by the devil himself after a desperate monk summoned him in exchange for his life. According to the legend, a monastery in Bohemia that made up the monks of the Black Cloth, a radical Christian group of whom devoted their belief to God by performing gruesome acts of starvation, isolation, and self-mutilation, accepted the terms outlined by one monk who promised to write the greatest book in a single night. The reason for this promise was due to the fact that the monk of the ministry had broken such a sacred rule of their monastery that the sin itself was covered up. After the other monks had convened, they decided that the punishment for the monk would be to wall himself up alive, essentially trapping him into a mausoleum. This led the monk to quickly promise the monastery that he could earn redemption by crafting the largest book that held all of human knowledge, including magic, medicine, information on herbs, as well as the entire Bible, in only one night. The monastery agreed to this outlandish promise on the basis of making a deal with the monk. They would allow him a chance at redemption if he could create the book in one night, but if he failed, they would continue with their punishment regardless. This led to the monk working throughout the night in a moment of panic, gathering all of the supplies necessary and binding the massive book before realizing that it would be humanly impossible to complete the task. At the stroke of midnight, in his desperation, he performed a dark ritual and summoned the devil himself. He quickly promised the devil his soul if the devil himself would use his supernatural powers to create the book and save him from death. In an instant, the devil accepted the deal and wrote the entire book in a single night, fulfilling the promise and saving the life of the monk. Interestingly enough, in the modern day, when experts took the time to look over the book, they found overwhelming evidence that the entire book was written by a single author in an incredibly short amount of time. The expected amount of time to work on such a massive book was expected to be more than a single author's lifetime. However, the entire piece has a consistent style of writing, of which is only possible to accomplish by having a lone author using the same type of ink, made in the same way as is common with books with a single author, and has an entire page of a drawing of the devil as a reference of the credit of the author.
All right.
The Lost Ark.
All right, so before we move on, so just so you guys know, it is not good to do any deals with the devil. Don't do any spells or witchcraft or anything like that. I don't like talking about this stuff. It's weird to see pastors talk about this stuff like every month, every week. It's just really weird. It does say somewhere in the Bible to talk about whatever is true and pure and good and right and just like higher vibrational things. So I just feel like spending too much time and attention talking about, the devils and stuff like that, I think it could just lower people's vibrations. So I just want to like stay away from that. But I do want to talk about it just to help people just to stay away from it. You don't want to do any deals with any devil or anything. It's not worth your soul. And a lot of people die 7 years later. And worse yet, sometimes you make deals with devils or demons, and it could hurt a family member. So it's just very good just to stay away from that. I know around Halloween time this year, there's a lot of pastors. It was all over the internet. People talking about these demonic things, and it was just like lower vibration. My vibes were so high until I saw all that crap all over the internet. So, yeah, not good stuff. I get all my intuitions. I get all my prophecies from God. God gives me my dreams. And yes, I am a child of God. We are all equal. All people are equal. Not one person's better than the other. Just because one person has 1 million subscribers and another person has 10 subscribers doesn't make the person with 1 million subscribers a better person or anything like that. This shouldn't be a competition. If you truly care about other people, I care about other people. So I'm not here to compete with other people. If other people are doing an amazing job, they're getting all these subscribers and views, or they're doing something good with their channel, then I support that. And it's great to see people, prosper and become better people and help other people. But I don't care about people's views or people's subscribers, or that's not success to me. Success is helping people change their lives, impacting people's lives. It's about the soul. It's about the person. So, I just want to say that real quick. I don't like talks of demonic stuff. I hate it, but I know I'm going to have to do a lesson on it in the future. I'm going to be doing it here pretty soon, telling you guys what demons are and how, demon possessions could happen. But that's just to bring awareness to the subject. And then that's it. Just one video and that's it. I don't like talking about it all the time. So, all right. I mainly want to help people evolve in their life. And another thing I want to touch up on is when I said, I'm a spiritual person, I'm not religious. I'm more spiritual. That, I don't pray with crystals. So maybe I shouldn't label myself as a spiritual person, or I'm of spirituality. Spirituality to me is just you believe in God. God is the universe. God flows through all beings. The Bible says that the kingdom of God is within us. So God is flowing through all beings, all people, all living beings, all planets. God is throughout the entire universe. That's what God is. God is all around us. He's in the wind. He's all over. He's in every living being. So that's that. All right, let's continue.
Ark of the Covenant. As the Israelites were making their way across the Sinai Desert after their departure from Egypt, Moses, with strict orders from God himself, commanded them to construct the infamous Ark of the Covenant. Inside the Ark is home to numerous tablets engraved with the 10 Commandments from the Hebrew Bible that are believed to host magical powers, both good and evil. The tablets are believed to be made of gold from the Garden of Eden, representing the morality of the universe. Like any biblical story, the truth of the matter is up to interpretation. Scholars who have studied the lost Ark of the Covenant have debated whether the Ark is made of gold or wood or both, what kind of powers it has, and ultimately where it ended up after vanishing from Jerusalem in 587 BC. God gave the Israelites extremely specific instructions for building the Ark of the Covenant. According to God, the ark should be made of both wood and gold. However, the wood must be acacia wood, that is 3.75 feet long and 2.25 feet wide. God then instructed the builders to sheath the wood with gold both inside and out. There was to be a cherub facing a certain direction on the lid of the chest, with its wings spread upward, casting a shadow below. To imagine that Israelites wandering through the desert for 40 years were expected to create such an artistic masterpiece with only their hands and some gold is a huge undertaking, even with God's guidance. To make this story more believable to modern people, it is now believed that God chose only one man to be the designer of the ark and gifted him the skills he would need to complete the task. One of the most popular theories is that the Israelites used the ark to gain advantages on their way to conquer Canaan after their extended journey through the desert. According to the Hebrew Bible, the ark had the ability to stop water from flowing in the Jordan River so that the founders of the ark could carry it across. It is also believed to have helped the Israelites in various battles on their way across the desert. Because the ark was thought to be so powerful and had brought the Israelites such good fortune, it became a hot commodity. It was eventually stolen from the Israelites, but shortly thereafter, the thieves were swept with disease and fatal illnesses, causing them to return to the ark immediately. Once the Israelites had reached Shiloh, the ark was taken by King David and given to Solomon to be brought to Jerusalem, where it would stay in the temple. Roughly 2,000 years ago, the ark disappeared once again. Scholars predict that the ark was stolen for its supposed powers and is now hidden in Ethiopia at the St. Mary of Zion Cathedral. The cathedral has a monk called the Guardian, who is the only person allowed to see the ark. There has been no authentication of the ark to determine if it is the original from the Bible stories. Other theories run rampant about the true location of the artifact. The Book of Maccabees states that the ark is hidden in a cave in Mount Nebo, and will remain unfound until called upon by God. At that point, we will know that God is giving us mercy because of the prolific powers that the ark holds for human beings. Still, there is always discussion about the ark being revealed only when the Messiah comes to earth to rescue his people. And finally, the ark is also believed to reveal itself only in the final days in the existence of the universe. Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell went down in history as a military and political figure who freed England from the authoritarian Charles I. He was given the high honour of being the Lord Protector of the Commonwealth of England, Scotland and Ireland. However, this is not his only legacy. While the English praised him for his great bravery, he was despised by the Irish who believed he was a king-slaying religious maniac. Let's dive deeper into this mysterious historical icon who, until this day, is believed to be the man who made a pact with the devil. In 1599, Oliver Cromwell was born to a wealthy family in Huntingdon, England. He grew up to be such a statesman and a respected member of the community that later on he became part of the Parliament for Huntingdon in 1628. With regard to his family life, at 21 years old, he married Elizabeth Cromwell, who was a daughter of a businessman. They had 9 children together. Although little is known about his early life, he was described as an intensely religious man who believed that God is guiding his victories. He was known to be tolerant, if not a supporter of the Protestant faith. However, he hated the Catholics and they hated him back. Oliver Cromwell has committed extreme measures as a militarist, which many considered as genocidal. He was, and still is, widely criticised for such acts, especially in Ireland. After having slain King Charles I, not everyone was pleased with Oliver Cromwell. The Scottish people saw him as a mass murderer of men, women, and even children, and they strongly believed that he needed to be stopped at all costs. They wanted Charles II to take his place. It was a war between parliamentarians and royalists. In history books, this is known as the Battle of Worcester. After months of fighting against the underdog forces of Charles I, Oliver Cromwell knew that he was going to win the war. He had a significantly bigger army of men to fight for him. At this point, the royalists can only die or surrender to him. It was on September the 3rd, 1651, when the mystifying thing happened. Oliver Cromwell was in a camp in Perry Wood, a secluded area deep in the vast Feckenham forest. He, together with his captain of his own regiment, Colonel Lindsay, were taken to the woods to meet a mysterious elderly man holding a roll of parchment in his hands. Allegedly, this old man offered Cromwell to have whatever he wants for the next 7 years, and after that, he, the devil, will have complete mastery over his body and soul. According to the alleged account of Colonel Lindsay, Cromwell argued with the devil and demanded 21 years.
See, I told you guys, 7 years. If you do deals with the devil, it's 7 years. And I didn't even watch this whole video yet. So, 7 years, it's not worth it. I could teach you guys how to have a better life and to receive more in life than what you would from doing deals with the devil. So, yeah, don't do that stuff.
Instead of only 7. After this, Cromwell happily screamed and celebrated because now the battle is in his hands. Soon after that encounter, the Battle of Worcester ended with thousands of men and horses killed and a lot more captured as prisoners. Cromwell has greatly won. However, his victory was not for long. Exactly 7 years after his alleged deal with the devil, he passed away due to multiple severe illnesses attributed to malaria and kidney stones at the age of 59. In 1659, Cromwell's son Richard, who was also his successor, surrendered to Charles II less than a year after his death. This is known in history as the Restoration. Fueled by vengeance, the new king ordered that the body of Cromwell be removed from his grave and be executed despite already being dead. Cromwell was hanged and beheaded in public, and his head was placed on a spike above Westminster Hall. The question of whether or not Oliver Cromwell's deal with the devil was for real is still left unanswered and continues to be a mystery more than 3 centuries after his death. But what do you make of these mysteries and discoveries surrounding religion? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.
Alright guys, so that's it for that video. I just wanted to show you guys the book of Barnabas. Stay tuned, I'm going to be showing you guys 3 more books, and then I'm finally going to be going into the Law of One series. I'm going to be telling you guys what the 7 densities of consciousness is, which is, when I talk about the 3rd density and the 4th density, I want to show you guys what that really is. But yeah, so let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought about this video of how, some people, the book of Barnabas said that Jesus was just a man, he was a prophet. Yeah, he did come from the higher states of consciousness from the 4th density, which is like a heaven-like state, into the 3rd density, just to help humans evolve, but he wasn't God, But we all could obtain that Christ consciousness. We all could reach the level of consciousness and awareness that Jesus did. That's possible. And I'll show you guys how we can do that in later videos. All right, guys, stay tuned. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. So love hanging out with you guys, and I will see you guys soon. All right, guys, take care. All right, bye.